We're going to be talking a little bit about strategic planning, the continuation of it. And I have created the quadruple I plus E for you. As we go through the strategic planning process, I want you to understand that this should be much more of a democratic process as you create that map, as you create that vision, as you get everybody's competencies and capabilities rowing the same direction. This is going to give you influence, impact, integrity, intelligence, and energy. Whereas traditional strategic planning is the top down. It comes from the top. And let me tell you something. The people that are in the trenches know just as much, if not more, about the customer than the people in the C-suite. Let me say that again. The people in the trenches know more about the customer than the people in the C-suite. Let me give you an example. And I think we may have talked about this several years ago. I was doing a paper and had a request to speak to the former CEO of Motorola. His name is Mr. Michael Tucker. And Mr. Michael Tucker told me one of the first things he did when he became CEO of Motorola, and this was when Motorola became a Fortune 50 company under his guidance. He said the first thing he did was fire 2 people. Why? Because they were not customer-oriented enough. Understand that he was trying to build influence, create an impact. He fired those people because they didn't have the integrity. He brought that intelligence out. He was giving people perspective, right? And he motivated them with that simple action. That is part of strategic planning. Sometimes it means firing the wrong people to get the right ones. And that brought out more energy. And his strategic plan, let me tell you something, wasn't just top down. It was top down plus bottoms up, my friends. And the confluence of these, where these two meet, is what strategic planning really is and what it really is about. I want you to understand that the influence, and you should start practicing this so you understand, you really truly understand what it is that I am teaching, because strategic planning is critical for your team. Even if you're not in the C-suite, you can make strategic plans. Why? Because it's more tactical, right? You might be in the trenches. You can create tactics. You can create your own strategic plan just so it falls underneath the umbrella of the strategy that the C-suite created, right? This is what's critical. This is what's critical. Influence, impact, integrity, intelligence, and energy. This is like building a resume. This is what you need to know. This is your qualifications of what you are marching towards. And as you start thinking of how you're going to influence, what kind of energy you're going to bring, all of these need to be in the context of reconceiving your product or idea. This is now getting even more and more in the weeds, getting more granular, understanding how to now build a strategic plan, right? Redefine your market space and redraw the industry boundaries. This is part of being innovative, part of using your intelligence, right? Reconceive your product or service. What are you talking about here, Senor Chavez? I haven't been in a hotel in years that actually had physical metal keys. What do we have now? There are no more hotel keys. There are hotel cards, right? When you want to go into your hotel room, you have a card that you put in there, right? Very easily disposable, easily manageable. They don't have to worry about making a million sets of keys. Very, very convenient. Think about reconceiving your space What is that going to look like? Maybe it's something like the joy of use of a product. The example here is a Mac, an Apple Mac. I mean, people love this. When I was a kid, let me go back here when I was a kid. Their vision statement, Apple's vision statement, and I'm paraphrasing this, was to learn and be able to use a computer in under 60 minutes. When I was a kid, to use a computer took a semester-long course. I took a course on dot matrix. So we had these dot matrix printers that were about this big, and I would spend hours coding on this thing so that when I hit the return button, out of that dot matrix printer would come a little banner that said, "I love mom," or "Happy birthday." That was one, "Happy birthday." And it was, that's how the dot matrix printer sounded. Okay, anyways, nonetheless, Mac came out with their computer and they said, hey, we want everyone to be able to use a computer in under an hour. And people loved it. They bought it. They went right for it. The joy of use. They reconceived the actual product in the marketplace and they gave it to the consumers. Now I want you to redefine the market space, redefine it. Low customer burden, meaning that the customers don't have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to actually get what they want, right? Imagine, what was the last thing? I had an example. I had something where I had a very high customer burden. In order for me to get what I wanted, I had to jump through all sorts of hoops. I forget exactly what it was, but you may have examples where in order for you to get something, even though you're the customer, you've got a whole series of things that you need to be doing. Wrong, right? Actually, it was yesterday. And I love Whole Foods. Trust me, I don't want to be a customer terrorist here, but I really do. I like Whole Foods. So I was at the bar yesterday, not the drinking bar. I was at the food bar, and you order everything by the pound. It wasn't the salad bar where you can just order, but you can just put it in yourself. It was the one where the man or the woman has to give you. And I said, okay, I like a quarter pound of that chicken curry. I want some of that cranberry tuna salad and some of that kale salad. And I had to they were like, wait a minute. And I want it on a plate. I want to eat it for lunch. And the guy was like, well, wait a minute. We can't do that. We have to just kind of package them. And I said, the plate's right there. Weigh it individually and give it to me. Redefine this, buddy. And so he thought about it for a second. Oh yeah, okay, I can do that. So he made me a plate. It didn't take any more time, maybe an extra 10 seconds for him to think about it, but there was a high degree of customer burden. I was having to tell him what to do, right? I'm the customer. I shouldn't have to do that. He should have figured it out. Low customer burden, very important. Accessibility, how easy is it for you to access your products or services as a customer that you want? How easy is it for your customers to access your products or services, right? Can they, for instance, think about plane tickets, right? Now, we don't even need to print out the ticketing, do we? We just have it on our phone. When we go up to the airport, it goes ching-ching, well, it doesn't do that, but I mean, they just put it under the scanner and it goes bink, and bam, you're through the line. The next thing you know, you're on the airplane having a glass of ginger ale. Anyways, customize, redefine the space. Customization is such a winner. This is real success. When you say customize, think of restaurants. How many of you change your order from the menu? Everyone, it seems like, can I hold the tomato? I love tomato. I don't understand people that don't like tomato. I've got a brother-in-law. This boggles my mind. This guy loves salsa more than I do. And I love salsa. I mean, I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to put that in words, but I love salsa. He loves, but he doesn't like tomatoes. I tell him, I say, hey man, I don't understand how that, you know what salsa is? Salsa's tomatoes. I don't like tomatoes. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I'll figure it out one of these days. I don't know. That might be a genetic. That might be something. There might be something in there that I don't think that's natural. By the way, but customize. I know people, and I don't like to dine with them, but I know people that change their order 3 and 4 times, and I just like, hey, listen, 1 or 2 changes. You get past 3 or 4. And you better be tipping that guy or that girl like 40%. Okay? That's my own philosophy. But nonetheless, low customer burden. Make it so that it's easy to access. Customize. Customization brings a lot of money. Whenever there's a change, a lot of money, right? Redraw your industry's boundaries. Look at the supply chain. Start looking at different suppliers, different materials for the same part, right? Supply chain is about sourcing raw materials. Service. This is the last part of this that I really want you to focus on. Service. Most people look at service as a cost center. We want service to be a profit center. Now look at where the money is, right? It's in having low customer burden, customization. It's in giving the best service, right? And it's also in giving people a great experience. That's what the joy of use is, if you are wondering. It is the experience, the whole customer experience, so that they do not become customer terrorists, right? And as you start building out your strategic plan with this in mind, use with your team, you identify what are you going to redefine, right? You identify what it is that you're going to reconceive with your team. This is innovative. Redraw the boundaries. You do not have to stay in the box, right? I know, to kill the cliche, out of the box. You can be outside of the boundaries, right? Outside of the boundaries. Here, this is about strategic planning. It's about changing the dynamic. It's about changing the narrative. Strategic change, though, typically is very, very scary for people. Why? Because traditional strategic change, some of you may have this experience. Well, we're making some changes. When a senior manager talks about change, they usually want to induce fear into all of the unsuspecting employees. And they throw it out there, right? They throw it out there in a committee meeting, a death by committee meeting, right? I call committee meetings, they're death by committee meetings. It's very rarely is there anything really productive out of a committee meeting. But nonetheless, they throw it out there at you and they say, well, we're going to be making some changes. They want to induce fear. And that's so wrong. I'm going to tell you something. I do not respond to fear tactics. I don't respond to negative advertising in politics either. Hey, you show me what you can stand on, why I should like you, not why I should despise him or her, right? Flip the narrative. Engage with the team. This should be, as you create your strategic plan, it should be democratic. engage your team, my friends. It should be democratic. That means that it's going to be the top down and bottoms up together. When was the last time your organization had a bottoms up meeting with the top down management? When you can bring those two together, you're cooking with gas. I'm Senor Chavez.